To be very clear before this debate, right, you was shit talking me. You was calling me a fraud. You was calling me a socialist, right?
Yeah, you are, yeah.
Hey, wait, actually, Kylo, can you record this real quick? I want to record this little opening
interaction. I already got the, yeah, there you go.
Very clear, before this debate, you were shit talking me, you were calling me a fraud, you were calling me a sophist. So let's actually test that theory.
I didn't say you're a sophist.
So you gave me, yeah, so you call me a fraud, right? I take that to be synonymous.
Yeah, because you're not Catholic. Yeah, because you're not Catholic.
I deny that. By the way, so listen.
Yeah, wait.
No, you're not going to drag me into meta.
Are you Catholic?
So what we're going to do, yeah, I just told you I'm Catholic. So what we're going to do is you're going to adequately respond. You're going to adequately respond.
Yeah, we can debate abortion.
You're going to adequately respond to these type of objections here, right? So presumably you want to say that the wrong maker is going to be the counterfactual deprivation of this type of valuable future in regards to the fetus. And that's what's going to be the wrong maker in regards to the first order moral verdict on abortion itself, right?
Yeah, that's what makes them, yeah, that's the wrong maker, yeah.
Yeah, can you motivate object naturalism and also metaphysical realism? And also motivate, I also want a motivation.
Why do I have to motivate? Yeah, why do I have to motivate in these views?
Yeah, so the reason why he needs to motivate metaphysical realism is because presumably you're going to be holding that the future like ours is some property that's being held of the fetus, right? And not only is it a property that's being held of a fetus, it's an immaterial property. The reason why it's an immaterial property is just because these type of future valuable goods aren't instantiated yet, right? And I take it that the future valuable goods are going to, be the type of things that are physical, right? So you're committing yourself to, this type of heavyweight doing carbon structure of reality when you say something along the lines of the fetus has a flow, right? And so what we need you to do is motivate metaphysical realism because you're committing yourself to these stance independent, discourse independent, mind independent facts of the matter in regards to the fetus. Yeah, and you need to motivate object naturalism because you have facts internal to the theory which are natural facts. Facts about fetuses, facts about these types of things in regards to, first order moral verdict. So do you have an argument for either of those claims?
Yeah, well, we could clarify a few things. Like, when we say that, flow is going to be, when you say, flow is a property, yeah, it's going to be property, but what about that makes it real? And I'm not sure, Marquis was using that being real.
The reason why it's real, again, is because it's immaterial, right? And the reason why...
That's about how it's real, that just...
I'm not done talking, so you're not going to do this thing where you interrupt me, bitch, so I'm going to turn my mic...
Yeah,
down and over talking.
Yeah, for sure. The reason why...
The reason why... Can we get some moderation? Can you put this guy on a muzzle, please?
Yeah, we're going to just let Cap finish what he's going to say, and then you can respond, and I'll keep Cap on mute while you respond.
Yeah, I take it that immaterial things are necessarily going to have extra mental existence because I take it that the mind is the type of thing which is, physical. It also means to be real and it's just to have extra mental existence. This is just standardly how realism is defined, right? So you are committing yourself to this type of thing being real in the sense that it's mind independent, which I already explained to you before, right? You're already losing. So do you have an argument in favor of that proposition? But not only that, but what I want you to do is motivate your conceptual scheme as well. So that's about 3 burdens on the table. And then when you motivate your conceptual scheme...
we're just going to start with the first burden. I'm not going to do this thing where you...
don't interrupt me, sir, please. BT3, calm down. Right, we're in the middle of a debate.
You're on the panel. I'm not going to...
We're in the middle of a debate.
I'm not trying to do the
let them debate how they debate.
We're in the middle of a debate. Stop interrupting.
BT3, maybe moderate when it's his time to stop talking, but how they're going to debate, you can't moderate how they're going to debate. Yeah, let them debate however they debate, but if somebody's talking time, then you got to mute them.
And then when you motivate...
talking stick thing is boring. Just don't speak over one another, or try not to speak over
bro,
one another.
You saying stuff that's already been established, man. I go what is you talking about? So listen, I'm going to get back to what I was saying. Now, after you motivate your conceptual schema, presumably I want you to motivate the system of representation in regards to the inference that you're adopting. And then not only that, but what I want you to do as well is motivate the indexical talk there because, presumably we could be, a global non-cognitivist. I also want you to motivate truth because we can be a global, elitic nihilist or not even an elitic nihilist. You can hold to truth in this type of deflationary sense such that it's not actually an elitic property. What it actually is the outcome of computational states and computational philosophy. So you have about 6-7 burdens on the table that I want you to fulfill.
Make a clarification here. You can flow can be a descriptive label for oh shit, why am I big screened? Anyway, yeah, it could be true insofar as it's a descriptive label, not that it's real. You saying that it's real seems to put a burden on
I gave you a reason why it's real. If you want you're already fucking losing. I gave you an argument.
Listen, Cap, I don't know why you're interrupting. So listen, just because you think it's gonna be something mental doesn't mean you're motivating that's real. Listen, this is just gonna be confused, Cap.
26 per choice.
Wait, I already gave you the reasons why it's real. I already gave you the reasons why it's real.
Can I say what's up?
Which is just that you're saying
just to clarify, Cap,
I'm not finished. I already gave you fucking clarification.
Yeah, just to clarify, Cap. I don't know why
clarify after I'm done.
Why you're interrupting after we went through. I don't know why.
You're interrupting me to be very clear. You're interrupting me.
As I'm asking a clarifying question.
No, I'm telling you that your clarity is dismissed in virtue of the fact that I'm talking. I take it that me getting my point out was procedurally prior to you giving your type of clarity. So you're dismissed, sir. Now shut the fuck up. Good little boy. Now, to be very clear, right? I gave you some reasons as to why it's the type of thing which is real. The reason why it's the type of thing which is real is because you're committed to it being immaterial, and I take it that the mind is the type of thing which is necessarily material. So then it seems like it's mind independent because it just exists in a different ontological status than the mind, right? So not only is it the type of thing which is mind independent, right, which trivially means that it's real, because all it means to be real is just that it's mind independent. For example, if you're a moral realist, obviously it's the case that you'd be saying that morals are mind independent.
Let him respond, bro. Let him respond.
Wait, but I wasn't finished talking.
To address your confusion here, you addressing it as an immaterial, you addressing it as a material property is going to be like presupposing in and of itself that it is real, right? You dumb fuck, right? That's why it's going to be begging the question, right? So we want to say
it's not begging the question.
It's just we want to say that it's a shorthand for that kind of it's just going to be descriptive of something else, right? So like unless you want to say that like, oh yeah, like Marquis definitely meant that it was going to be a real property. It's just
so to be very clear, this isn't question begging, because the proposition there is an immaterial object is going to be a type of thing which is not semantically identical with this object is real. For example, you can hold theories such that the mind is also immaterial, such that you can have things that are immaterial and also be real, or this type of things which are mind dependent. Right, so obviously there's this thing semantic content there. So you're confused on the fact that it's question begging, because it's not question begging. But even if it was question begging, I deny that this type of thing is the thing for which is problematic. So let's take a recap over the debate. You have to motivate conceptual realism, metaphysical realism. Stop talking. You have to motivate conceptual realism, metaphysical realism, your conceptual scheme, your system of representation, task inference. You also need to motivate object naturalism. You also need to give me an account as to why question begging is the type of thing which is problematic. Not only that, but you need to give me an account as to why obviously the things I'm saying are confused in regards to the thing being real. In which case I already gave you the argument and you didn't fucking track it. So you have about 10 burdens on the table. This is embarrassing for you. You have yet to fulfill a single one. Right, you're getting blown out. This is terrible. Right, and also, I take it that
like as soon as I start talking, you start interrupting. So shut the fuck up. Yeah. So the reason why
you got that.
So the reason why I don't have to, for sure. Listen, the reason why I don't have to accept like any sort of like metaphysical realism, at least in the way that you're implying,
I gave you some reasons.
I obviously don't accept flow as a real property, right?
Wait, that's what was in question, and I gave you the argument for that claim.
Wait, so now what you're doing is you're functionally begging. You really asserted all you asserted is that like it's going to be immaterial.
What you're doing right now is you're functionally begging the question against something that I already told you. That's what was in question.
The argument fails, Cap, because obviously I don't accept that it's going to be immaterial.
I gave you an argument as to how it's a real thing.
Like I don't know why like you're so confused.
I already gave you the argument. Can you recapitulate the motivation?
I'd say the argument fails given the fact that I don't accept that it's going to be independently real. I think
wait.
Yeah, I think flow is
you don't accept the conclusion when I gave you an argument for the conclusion. Wait, do you think that? Wait, you take it that you saying you don't accept the conclusion when I gave you an argument for the conclusion? Do you take it that that's fulfilling your burden rejoinder?
I didn't say it. Wait, hold on.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Maybe I'm confused.
Yes or no?
Is the reason why you think that like Marquis meant it as a real property? I want yes or no for my question. I don't need to. Is the reason why you think that they meant it as a real property?
It's binary. We're not moving on to the question.
For sure.
Okay, yes or no?
That's incredibly informative what you're sharing. Yeah. So like,
it's either the case that you think that that's fulfilling your burden rejoinder.
Yeah. For sure.
Which one? Yes or no? Chat, type 1 if you guys have to answer the question.
Just answer his clarity question, Cap.
No, because I asked him a yes or no question prior to that clarity question. So he's going to answer my yes or no question, right? So we're not going to try to ask me a question and get out of that.
I just wanted to save my age for like TikTok, so like you don't get in trouble.
All right,
I did not ask you a question. So yes, is that a yes? You take that.
Let us clarify his age, Cap. I don't know why you're interrupting.
You're being weird right now. Let them finish debating.
I'm just doing the TOS.
You attention hungry, bro.
I'm doing the TOS.
Let them finish their 1v1 game. Come on.
You're doing TOS, Kylo. Like,
you're getting killed right now.
Pipe down, Kylo. Pipe down.
1 second.
Let them finish debating, bro. What is y'all?
Can we get lit off the panel?
Let's let them continue debating.
Thank you.
Like, I'm not trying to do this thing.
Wait, why is Kylo recommending that Cap annihilate?
Thank you for the gift.
So what I want you to do, Apostle, is answer this question. I'm going to repeat it for like the third time, first, last.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. The question is, do you take it that if I give you a sound argument in favor of a proposition, or an argument that I at least perceive to be sound, and then you say I deny the conclusion, and you don't object to any of the premises, do you take that as adequately fulfilling your burden rejoinder?
Wait, I denied that it was.
Yes or no? Thank you for the rule.
I denied it was like a material.
Yes or no?
I denied it was materially real.
Wait, it's a yes or no question.
Yeah, I don't think the question's relevant.
Just let him respond.
Is it a yes or a no?
I don't think the question's relevant. I have to answer.
The question's relevant because you took it that you gave an adequate response to the argument I gave insofar as you denied the conclusion. But the thing is that you didn't object to any of the premises, which just means that you still have the burden rejoinder to object to any of the premises, because I'm trying to say that the conclusion is a type of conclusion which necessarily falls from the premises.
I don't know why I have to accept. I don't know why I have to accept. Yeah. Wait. Okay, maybe.
Right, so the question is relevant. I just explained why it's relevant. So now we're going to get a yes or no.
Because maybe I didn't hear the formalization of the argument given. Wait, what was the formal?
Yes or no? Yes or no? Chat, spam yes or no real quick. Spam yes or no so we can get the answer to this question. Yes or no, Apostle?
Listen, maybe I'll respond. I'll respond because I don't like.
Apostle, do you agree that the question is relevant?
What?
Do you agree with Cap that the question is relevant?
No, I don't.
I explained why, by the way. Oh my goodness. See, he just does this thing where he tries to, deny the conclusion of the arguments I levied, but he doesn't object to any of the premises. Or it's not a loaded question.
Lay it out formally.
Wait. To be very clear, it's not a loaded question.
Formally,
I'm going to respond to what you just charged me with, and then I'm going to lay it out formally.
I'll respond to the question.
The question is either P. It's either P or not P, right? Where the P is. I
understand.
I accept the proposition.
I'm asking you to get the full argument. Hold on.
Stop talking. Why are you interrupting me? So the question is a P or a not P, where the P is I accept the proposition that me saying I deny the conclusion while not objecting to any of the premises adequately fulfills my binary rejoinder, or not P, it's not the case that I accept the proposition, right? So I want to know which one is it. Do you accept it or not?
Wait, accept the what? To clarify, I'm writing down.
Oh my goodness, this guy's a burger. I asked you. Let's imagine I give you an argument that I believe is sound for a conclusion. Right?
Yeah.
Do you think you saying I deny the conclusion and you don't object to any of the premises, is that adequately fulfilling the binary rejoinder?
Yeah, obviously not. Like given that it's deductive.
Wait, what do you take the binary rejoinder to be?
Binary rejoinder isn't that just in the case of like you have the burden of like responding?
You have the burden to disprove another interlocutor's claims if you take the negation. Yes, and I take it that what you did was you didn't actually disprove the claim insofar as you disproved the motivation. What you actually did was just question back against the argument that I gave. Right? I take it that that's fundamentally question backing against the argument that I gave. Right, and I take it that this type of question backing is the type of question backing which we shouldn't do. Right, and the reason why we shouldn't do this type of question backing is because we're not going to get anywhere. Right, because for any argument that I believe is sound, you can just say I deny the conclusion ad infinitum. Right, and you can just keep doing that ad infinitum, and we're not actually going to get anywhere. If you take this to be the type of thing which is reasonable in the dialectic, then I'm just going to say I deny that abortion is immoral. All right, and I'm not going to object to any of the premises. Now what do we do? Exactly, we hit a fucking stalemate because you're not responding to any of the premises and the motivation that I gave to the argument. Right, you understand this?
Yeah, like to clarify, I would actually like to.
And by the way, you have like 10
the original objection. I can write it down. So we're not talking past each other.
I think it's like 15 and counting on the burden.
Perhaps the debate is going to be like more productive if I actually have a like coherent understanding of the argument. So like I would rather hear like the formal argument.
The claim that you denied on the table was that the flow commits you to metaphysical realism, insofar as the flow is going to commit you to a mind-independent, discourse-independent world, right?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah,
okay, perfect.
Saying that flow is real.
Now and what do you take real to be? Because I take it to just be saying that it has extra mental existence.
I mean, like, yeah, I would agree with the.
Okay, if physicalism about the mind is true, then anything immaterial is necessarily extra mental. You would agree?
If physicalism is true?
Yeah, if physicalism about the mind is true, then anything that is immaterial is necessarily extra mental. You would agree with that proposition?
No, like physicalism.
What do you mean no?
Physicalism would be committed.
Physicalism just holds that the mind is material. So anything that exists outside the mind is going to not be mental, right? Because it has independent ontic status. Then the type of thing that we're talking about.
They wouldn't be committed to saying it's material, though. Like they aren't committed to saying they're not.
Wait, do you agree, Apostle?
Agree with what?
Oh my goodness, this guy is a burger. Now I'm going to repeat it one more time for you.
You asked if I'm a burger? That's confused. Okay.
If the mind is material, right, then anything that is immaterial is necessarily outside the mind. This is basic common sense.
If you accept that like this immaterial object is real.
This is basic common sense. Now, what I'm saying is, I believe that the flow commits you to real objects because I take it that reductive physicalism.
Thank you for the gives.
I take it that reductive physicalism is true. And if reductive physicalism is true and the flow is a type of object which is immaterial, then the flow is just real because it has, its separate ontological status than the mind. Right. This is what I've been telling you. And given those background commitments, you need to motivate metaphysical realism because you are committed to a mind-independent world now. You understand that?
Yeah. So to clarify here, right? When you say that flow is going to be something immaterial, I mean, again, this is like assuming that flow isn't going to be isn't going to be like a shorthanded term, right? Like presumably, like at least in the way that Marquise gives it, it is a shorthanded term for like the CCA.
Wait,
so, you don't have to be committed to it being real in the same way you do. Like, yeah, you don't have to be committed to saying like it's real in the same way you don't have to be committed to saying that like.
Wait, do you take it that the future, the flow right there is the type of thing which is instantiated?
Which is instantiated?
Yeah, you can repeat the question again. That's not an answer. So I want an answer.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't think it's instantiated. No.
So you take it that for any future event, right, it's the type of thing which is not instantiated?
No, obviously. Well, obviously, feel
go against presentism. Okay, perfect. Go against presentism.
Go against presentism.
Yeah.
I mean, we can. Do you know like the standard objection to presentism given by like general relativity?
I don't know it, and I expect you to explicate it, right? Because what I want you to do is actually give me content that I can work with. Just asking me, do you know what X is, and not expounding on X is not informative.
Wow, I asked you.
You just said that for
I asked you a question of one of the most famous objection to presentism.
Yeah, I answered the question, and
that's okay. Like, I'll give it. Listen, I'll give it. Cap. It's okay. It's okay.
Did you even motivate your conceptual?
It's okay. I understand. Listen, right. The reason why we should reject presentism, right, is given the fact that time is going to be relative according to general relativity. And if that's the case, then yeah, the presentism is going to be insufficient to account for this, given the fact that they want to say that the present's real, given the fact that they want to say that the present's real and not relative.
Yeah, can you motivate scientific realism?
Scientific realism?
Yeah, Burger.
Well, I'm going to admit I don't have a motivation for that.
Scientific realism is just the thesis that our scientific theories are the
I understand what scientific realism is. I'm saying.
Wait, but you just said that you're deriving the normativity in virtue of the fact that our scientific theories point to this thing, which is literally just saying that scientific realism is true insofar as the epistemic thesis, which is that we should believe whatever our best scientific theories posit. Right? So if you don't have an argument for that, then the normativity you're talking about here just falls off the ground, right? Because you literally just appealed to scientific realism to motivate your claim, at least in the epistemic sense. I don't know if you appealed to an ontological sense, but at least in the epistemic sense you just did, right? And I'm not willing to sign off on that claim either.
Yeah.
Right. So do you have some motivation for that claim?
Yeah,
I also take it that you haven't motivated your conceptual scheme. I'm going to press you further on your conceptual scheme now, actually, in virtue of the fact that you're unable to fulfill the burden on scientific realism, which is fine, right? That's just another fucking burden unfulfilled. So what I want you to do now is motivate your conceptual scheme.
Yeah, I haven't looked into like conceptual schemes.
Do you know what a conceptual scheme is?
No, obviously not, because I haven't looked into them.
Okay, so if you actually fucking read, you would understand that a conceptual scheme is a linguistic framework, right? It's this type of system of linguistic rules.
Why is
Oh, no, wait, let Deathless talk real quick. Let Deathless talk.
I just want to give Cap a pointer because he's actually one of the better debate stylists on it. Sometimes I just want to be I want to sharpen him up a little bit. So, motivations aren't justifications, and I just want you to I know what you're trying to suggest, but when you request that somebody motivate a conceptual scheme, it's a rhetorical appeal to persuade you.
Yeah.
And now the rhetorical appeal to persuade you is a different.
Okay, appreciate it. Appreciate the pointer.
It's just a different line of inquiry.
Okay, appreciate the pointer.
That makes it mandatory for acceptance. So hold.
Yeah, appreciate it. You're the GOAT, bro. Now, if we talk about a conceptual scheme, we're talking about a linguistic framework, right? Which is just a system of linguistic rules, including representation, inference, and inferential web networks that we adopt in order to organize experiences and even coordinate action. Right now, if you read Rudolf Carnap in his paper Empiricism, Semantics, and Ontology, he takes it that we have an object, right? Let's suppose we want to talk about an object, right? What we need to do is we need to introduce this linguistic framework, right? And then once this framework's adopted, we can ask questions within it and represent things within it. I'll actually quote him directly. He says, if someone wishes to speak in language about a new kind of entity, he has to introduce a system of new ways of speaking, subject to new rules. We shall call this procedure the construction of a linguistic framework or conceptual scheme for the new entities in question. Now, all I'm questioning here is whether your framework is going to be the type of thing which is, useful, fruitful, simple, convenient. Not only that, but I'm also kind of asking you to, motivate that the conceptual scheme is the type of thing which obtains as well. So do you have an argument for any of those claims? Also, by the way, you are losing because you have about several burdens on the table you have yet to fulfill. You just admitted to me that you weren't able to fulfill scientific realism after you appealed to scientific realism, saying we should adopt X because
I don't think that's the case. That's a bit simple to say, like, I appeal to scientific realism. Well, no.
No, you did.
You can say that we should adopt X because time is relative under general relativity is just saying, like,
wait. And you said we should accept the claim in virtue of that, right, Apostle?
Wait, sorry, what?
You said we should accept the claim in virtue of that, right? That's scientific fact.
Yeah, like in terms of like, should we accept like?
That's just the thesis of scientific realism, because scientific realism, at least in the epistemic sense, just says that we should accept what our best scientific theories amount to and what they actually intend to establish.
Well, I mean, like,
you derive the normativity from the scientific theory.
Just like
I'm not finished talking, Apostle. Stop interrupting.
Sure.
Right, you're drowning and you know it, and so you want to do this thing where you fucking interrupt, or you're getting blown out, Apostle. Now I'm going to talk to you.
That's an interesting description. Yeah.
If you're deriving the normativity from the fact that there's a scientific theory which explains this thing,
well, I didn't derive any normativity.
At least the epistemological thesis of scientific realism, you are committing yourself to, right? So if you don't have an argument for that, then the claim there is going to be the type of claim where it doesn't hold, right? Now, also, we can talk about the conceptual scheme. Can you motivate it?
Yeah, the conceptual scheme for what? Just to clarify.
The conceptual scheme in regards to the linguistic framework, when you talk about the first order more verdict in regards to the fetus.
Wait, what like linguistic scheme am I referring to?
You're talking about things such as morals. You obviously have to introduce a linguistic framework, to contain these type of things, right? Obviously.
Yeah, I'll admit that I haven't been interested.
So I'm asking for what's the argument for the linguistic framework?
For linguistic framework? I already agreed that I don't have
because you can be. I take it that conceptual schemes.
Like I haven't looked into philosophy of language.
Yeah, that's fine. So I also take it that conceptual schemes, I'm actually going to say that your conceptual schemes necessarily false. And then you just lose this fucking debate, which is fine. We can talk about that. So I take it that.
Well, I mean, like,
conceptual schemes, stop talking. I'm not finished.
It addresses the theory.
It does address the theory because you agree that you're operating on our linguistical framework, right? So if I prove that linguistical frameworks aren't the type of things which obtain, given your concession, then the debate's over. And that's just an auto concession, right?
It's not a concession for what?
It's an auto concession that your whole argument just doesn't obtain. Like there's no linguistic frameworks at all, and I can give you the argument for that. Yeah. So I take it that conceptual schemes are going to presuppose this thesis called correlationism, if you read Quentin Mesa, you know that he has a book called After Finitude where he, critiques this view called correlationism. I take it that correlationism is the thesis that we only ever have access to the correlative thought and being, and we never get either term on its own. So whatever we call truth or knowledge or reality or whatever we take embedded in schemes is the type of thing where it's reality for a scheme, right? It's reality interpreted downstream theory, conceptual scheme. I also take it that correlationism is inherently problematic because it seems like there's, certain rules for two schemes you can kind of describe the same thing with two separate schemes. And it seems like I deny that. Like, I think there's only one unique correct way of dividing reality into concepts, right? And carving reality as joints. This is just like the basic joint carving objection. I think Quine also talks about the joint carving objection. This is like a meta-ontological thing as well. And so if the joint carving objection is the type of thing which obtains, which I believe it doesn't have an argument for that, then your conceptual scheme isn't the type of thing which obtains. So yeah, man, I mean, then the debate is just fucking over, right? Because you lose, because if you agree that you're operating under linguistic frameworks, and these frameworks aren't the type of things which obtain, then, your whole position is just contradictory, right? So yeah, I want to know if you have a response to that as well.
Well, I'm not going to agree at face value. That's fine with you.
You think just saying I'm not going to agree is an adequate response? Like, you think you can just given if you're okay, so why can't I just do that with you? Why can't I just say, well, no to abortion being wrong? Like, why can't I just do that?
I'm not saying no. Like, I can concede that obviously
why can't I just do that? Why can't I just say prima facie
linguistics or conceptual frameworks? I'm not saying that that's not true. Listen, all I'm saying is that I'm not sure if this entirely addressed the theory, given that I
already explained how it does address the theory, because you already told yourself, you already told me and the audience that you're using a linguistic framework. And if correlationism is the type of thesis which is false, then conceptual schemes don't attain, right? This is just conceptual scheme nihilism.
Listen, again, I'm
and then it seems like your whole position is
I'll read
you're over talking again, Apostle. Stop it. Stop over talking.
Oh my God. Listen.
Then it seems like your whole position is erroneous.
When I say you're not addressing the theory, what I'm saying is that I'm not sure you've sufficiently debunked flow, given the fact that you made a
Wait, I already explained why the argument doesn't work. Because you said that the argument. You understand here? I'll just run a simple modus ponens on you.
Flow is going to be an immaterial property.
Here. I'll just run a simple modus ponens on you. Stop talking. I'll just run a simple modus ponens on you. I'll just run a simple modus ponens on you. If conceptual schemes don't obtain, then your argument doesn't obtain. Conceptual schemes don't obtain, therefore your argument doesn't obtain. Right? And you yourself admitted that you.
Wait. Do you think arguments are theories? Wait. Do you think arguments are theories?
I don't take that to even be a relevant response. What's the relevance relation?
Right. To be clear, what I'm addressing.
What's the relevance relation?
We can agree
What's
that.
the relevance relation?
If it's true, hold on. We can agree that if it's true.
Wait, no. I don't care about what we're agreeing on. I want to know why that question's relevant.
Jesus Christ. Listen.
What's the relevance relation also? Because I think that the question's not relevant.
I can agree. I can agree that I can agree that it might be the case. Wait. This isn't it.
Probably all right. Hold on. Ask if you agree with what I just said.
Hold on. Yeah, listen. Oh my God. Every time I speak,
are you gonna answer?
Listen. I agree that my argument can fail. Wait, I can agree that my argument can fail, given that I don't have a conceptual scheme, and my ignorance of that causes my argument to fail. But
if there's no conceptual scheme, there's no first order more verdict either.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just asking if this actually addresses whether the theory fails, the flow theory.
The theory in regards to
the theory in regards to the first address.
Wait. I'm not done talking.
They're infringed conception.
When you ask about the theory, are you talking about the theory in regards to the first order more verdict?
I'm talking about the theories and the argument that's presented by Marquise's white.
Yeah, and the conclusion of that argument is that there's a first order more verdict, which includes that abortion's wrong, right?
Yeah, but when you say
I have an argument that shows the first order more verdict,
are you referring to
bitch, shut up. Now, if I have an argument that shows the first order more verdict is the type of thing which necessarily doesn't obtain, then the argument and the theory, right, in regards to the first order more verdict, both of those don't obtain either. So then it just seems like you're fucking wrong, and that you got something wrong, right? You understand that?
I don't agree.
I'll give another argument.
You addressed a French conception of it. That's all you did.
I'll give argument number 2. I don't know why I got muted. Who just muted me? We're not going to do that. You're not going to mute me. Now, to be very clear, if conceptual schemes don't obtain, stop talking. I'm sorry. Stop talking. Now, if it's the case that conceptual schemes don't attain, then the first order moral verdict in regards to abortion doesn't attain. Conceptual schemes don't attain. And then you just affirm the antecedent and follow most opinions. That's argument number 2 on the board, where I've just showed you that there is no first order moral verdict in regards to abortion in the moral domain at all. Right? You're getting blown out on every single point. You fail to motivate your conceptual scheme. You fail to motivate metaphysical realism. You fail to motivate conceptual realism. You fail to motivate scientific realism after presupposing it for some motivation for the denial of presentism, where presentism is needed for your thesis to obtain as well. Presentism is needed to be false for your thesis to obtain as well. Now listen, what we can do is we can just have you conclude or have you concede, Apostle, because it seems like you're never going to be able to fulfill these burdens. And then each time you try to fulfill these burdens, I'm just going to stack another 50 on top of you. Right? It's to the point where you're getting adequately weighed down and drowning right now. So all you have to do is just say you concede, and then I'll fly out, man. I don't want to do it to you that bad.
Concede to what exactly?
Yeah, just concede that you're unable to fulfill all those burdens. Or at least if you're
well,
not.
I already conceded that I can't fulfill the burden of like scientific realism, but I don't think I had a burden towards like metaphysical realism. I already denied that I have a burden towards that.
I gave you an argument as to why you have that, by the way.
Yeah, like, well, hold on. I asked for like I asked like, because we're talking past each other, like probably I didn't understand the argument, which I still want the argument for. So I mean, like, what was the original objection you gave? Just so I have it formalized, and like I can actually understand why it's the case that I have to
I'll just
burden.
listen. So that's concession number 1 of the night. I take it that concession. Yeah, you were unable to fulfill the burden I placed on you. That's
On scientific realism, yeah, like I agree.
I take that to be a concession in regards to the debate as a whole. That should be pointed out.
Yeah, like it's a single concession of the debate. Yeah.
Okay, so stop the meta now. I'm gonna explain why you presuppose scientific realism yet again. You never attacked the reductive physicalism point, which is what I'm holding to. Right?
Hold on. I already agreed. I already agreed. I conceded on.
Why are you over talking me? Why are you over talking me?
Like scientific realism.
Why are you over talking
me? I'm asking about metaphysical realism. I'm asking about
that's what I'm talking about. Are you stupid? Right, that's what I'm talking about.
You said scientific realism.
No, I said metaphysical realism.
You misspoke then. Okay.
No one misspoke where I said metaphysical realism.
It's okay if you misspoke, man. It's okay.
No,
but,
the reason why you assume metaphysical realism.
I want the formalized
because
to clarify.
I'm not formalizing shit, bitch. Right? I understand that. How durable people give arguments.
I want to write it out. I want to write it out, but don't formalize it so it's easy for me to write out. Okay.
You can talk to me in natural language. We don't need to write anything down, to be honest.
I actually would prefer to write things down, just so I can like look back on this debate.
The conversation sufficiently and adequately, you would be able to engage in a conversation. Are you saying you're not able to?
Go ahead. I'll try to write this out. I'll formalize it for you.
If reductive physicalism about the mind is true, then anything immaterial has a different ontological status than the mind, right?
Wait, if reductive physicalism is true, what was the concept?
Then anything immaterial has a separate ontological status than the mind, which is just to say that it exists extramentally.
Ontological status of the mind. Wait, you say if reductive physicalism is true for the mind, you said, just to clarify?
Yeah, if reductive physicalism is about the mind, sure.
But what was P2?
Yeah, then it seems like there is something that's immaterial by your own admission, right? If there's something that's immaterial, then it has that's actually just a consequence. We'll just affirm reductive physicalism, and then you get the conclusion. But listen, I want to know if you have, you've already, conceded on multiple points. I mean, it's not really, it doesn't feel that good to beat on you for that long, right? I mean, I can amp you up on all of this stuff. We can take our time with it. We can do it nice and slow, but...
I don't even, wait, hold on. To be clear, I don't even, respect you enough for you to amp me. I'm not saying, you're not worthy of it.
I am amping you right now, to be clear. Right, you're writing this down.
I would say that's a bit controversial.
Yeah, you're writing this down so you can run this argument. You can learn from what I'm telling you, by the way.
I'm going to run this argument.
Right. Yeah, you actually learn from me.
I'm going to run an argument.
I'm actually giving you and the audience a free argument that they could run for anybody if they want to know why the argument presupposes.
The argument is that if reductive physicalism is true for the mind, then anything immaterial has a separate ontological status of the mind. Reductive physicalism is true for the mind. Therefore, the conclusion is anything immaterial has a separate ontological status of the mind.
Yeah, and then we can assume, for the sake of the argument, that there exists something that's immaterial. This immaterial thing is going to have a separate ontological status than that of the mind, given the argument, which is to say that it's real, right?
Wait, so hold on. To clarify,
it's extramental. It's beyond the mind.
Wait, so because I agreed that there's an immaterial property called flow. It's therefore the case that
it's real.
Metaphysical realism is true. Okay.
Yeah, because it's a mind independent.
Yeah, if there's an immaterial, if there's an immaterial property that exists really. And it's necessarily separate ontological status of the mind, then obviously, yeah, I can agree with that.
Right. But okay, so I take that to be, micro concession number 2 of the night, right? Which is fine, right? So this is concession number 2.
To be clear, I had a problem with this. The problem I had, I was right, by the way. I think the problem I had was that, why would I have to accept that, flow is a real, why do I have to accept the fact that it is an immaterial, property outside of the mind?
Because you agreed that it's the type of thing which is, not instantiated, right?
Because I agreed it's not the kind of thing that's instantiated.
Yeah, and I take it that when it's instantiated, that's just to say that the future actually occurred, right? Which is why I asked you, maybe you have an argument for the denial of presentism, right? So listen.
I agree with the argument for general relativity.
What you conceded on.
Yeah, some concessions of the argument, especially my conception, it depends on scientific realism.
Yeah, but which you conceded on. Right, you conceded that you're not able to motivate scientific realism.
Well, to be clear, the reason why I said it's not
actually, if we look,
hold on. Yeah, okay.
I've responded to all the burdens you've placed on me, right? And
that's fine.
You've responded. You haven't responded. Stop talking. I've met my burden of proof. Not only have I met my burden of proof in regards to responding to every burden you place on me, right? What you have done is you've not responded. Stop talking. I'm not finished. Sorry. I'm not done. Now, what you have done is failed to meet several burdens on the table. Not only that, but you conceded that you're not able to meet certain burdens in regards to this dialectic, right? So if we just take the standard debate norms, where I respond to all the claims you make with things that are defeaters, I respond to all the burdens you place on me, but you don't respond to several of the burdens that I place on you, and you concede that you're unable to meet certain burdens, and it just seems like you trivially lose the debate, right? You agree?
Well, okay, well, hold on. Yeah, like, listen, my response to give an
You
objection.
agree, Apostle?
To be honest, I wasn't paying attention to your like random blabbering.
Oh
but,
my
like,
goodness.
Listen, the response I have
we
to
can
the
conclude, bro.
objection, right,
We
yeah,
can
my
conclude,
response
bro.
I have
Let's
to the
conclude, bro.
objection is that the
No,
reason
we
I
can
didn't say it was
conclude,
instantiated, the reason why I said it
We
wasn't
can conclude,
instantiated.
bro. We can conclude,
Listen,
bro.
Cap, because you're confused.
We
The
can
reason I said it
conclude,
wasn't instantiated was because flow isn't a real property, right? It's not a real
Already
property, and what? Yeah, it's not a real property in which like the abstract becomes real.
I already told you we can conclude, bro.
We can conclude what, like the debate?
Yeah, because you've conceded
I'd
several times.
rather you respond, or rather your response to the response I have for the objection.
Yeah, I take it that it's necessarily a real property because you're talking about it in.
Why does it have to be necessarily a real property?
Yeah, because you're talking about it in regards to, it being immaterial, correct?
It being immaterial, like immaterial in the sense of like it's not a
Yeah, it's
physical
abstract.
object, like it's not
Yeah.
physical, like it's not a physical property.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it'll be like.
Then it's real, given the argument I gave you earlier. Oh my god, yeah, let's conclude. Let's just conclude.
What?
You conceded several times and I gave you the argument as to why.
Do you think all
it being immaterial
do you
until
think
it's
all
real?
abstract things, or do you think all abstract things are necessarily real?
Yep. All non-physical entities are real.
So are you serious?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
What?
Yep. Because I'm a reductive
You
physicalist.
think you're reductive physicalists, therefore, hold on. I don't think reductive physicalists are committed to that.
Everything that's immaterial is beyond the mind by definition because the mind is a material object. And what do you think it means to be real? What it means to be real is just that it's extramental and it's beyond the mind. You're getting killed. But look, we can conclude. You've conceded several times. I have yet to make a single concession. I have yet to adequately say that I'm unable.
Yeah,
to
wait, hold on. Well, I have a
said
few
that you're
issues
unable
with
to
this. Like,
fulfill
listen,
certain
like, let's say.
So that means that I win. Have a nice day, man.
Wait, what? Wait, do you think? Wait, do you think that like
lost.
certain objects? Wait, do you think that? Because you think that like all abstractions
All
are
right,
real?
well, the debate. So hold on, just muzzle yourself, Apostle. I really see Cap. I wanted you to have Apostle be like, yeah, the concession he made earlier entails he lost the whole debate, but that burger not gonna admit that. I don't know what.
Never call me a fraud again after this performance.
Yeah, you're a fraud Catholic still.
No, Apostle, you just died. You have no room to call anyone a fraud.
Wait, Kyle, I don't know. Like, what do you mean by die? Like, I don't know. Like,
no, like I ain't
when you
gonna
say
lie,
die, this is like a weird, like rhetorical.
You just got dismantled. Like he went
dismantled. Right. Listen, Cap, are you gonna address the fact that you're a fraudulent Catholic?
For a limb,
You and Kylo are fraudulent Catholics.
Then he grabbed your other leg. Then he grabbed your arm. Then he went.
Wait, Cap, are you baptized by the way?
Wait, Apostle.
Wait, Cap, are you baptized? Kyle, I don't really care about this use of rhetoric.
Everything you're saying right now is dismissed.
Cap, are you baptized?
Two
Cap, are you
concessions.
baptized?
Notice
Are
how
you
he's
still
on a pivot.
catechumen?
Two concessions.
Are you even a catechumen,
Apostle,
Cap?
Apostle, you can't call him a fraud when he got two concessions out of you.
Yeah, you guys are both fraudulent Catholics.
He got
You're a real
two
Catholic.
concessions out of you. How can you fraud inquiring Catholicism? Are you on the spectrum? You're a clown.
Wait, you made that.
You're a clown.
To be
He
clear,
got two concessions out of you.
I said that he wasn't a real Catholic. He said he was.
Hold on.
I said he wasn't a real Catholic. He said he was.
Did he make you concede on 2 points? Yes or no?
Yeah, he made me. Well, hold
You're
on.
sorry,
He made me
nigga.
concede on the point that I
All right,
couldn't
but
defend scientific realism.
Now that you've just admitted and by the way, the concessions you made were critical to your view. If for your view to go through, you have to justify.
Scientific realism is critical
Yes,
to flow being true.
that is a commitment of your.
That's not true.
That is not flow simpliciter. Your view, which hinges on the burden.
My view of flow doesn't depend on that.
Wait, you do because you're deploying the argument. So if your formulation,
my view on flow doesn't depend on that.
if your formulation of the argument presupposes any type of realistic talk that he put in question, you can't meet that burden. The argument fails in virtue of that. You're a dumb fuck.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I deny that.
Wait, the argument. Wait, hold on.
I deny that, by the way.
That's not
But
true, Kylo. Like, listen.
for two concessions, you ought to be embarrassed.
For two concessions.
Two concessions. Yeah. How many times did Cap concede?
An ordinary concession. This is the same reason why I think like debating you guys.
How many times did Big Bro Cap concede? Huh?
How many times did Cap concede? Well, he didn't concede in virtue of the fact that he's confused. He didn't concede in virtue of the fact that he's confused. Well, like,
He asked me to motivate. I'm motivated. He asked me to break it down. I'll break it down.
Listen. For the whole chat. Just let this be.
His view on RP. Hold it down. Yeah, Kylo, maybe I should clarify that the reason why I didn't concede is that he's confused.
Hold on, let me get this thought out. Let this be an example, my nigga. Like,
yeah, Kylo. So the reason why Cap didn't concede is that he was being intellectually dishonest in virtue of the fact that he held a very confused fringe view on. Yeah, he built a fringe view on RP.
None of this is fringe, by the way.
We obviously shouldn't say that every abstract object is real. Given the fact that if he were to
BT3, let us get our closes, bro, because
he held that two axioms that are contradictory are going to be real.
Let us get our closings, bro, because he doing.
Like, listen, we obviously shouldn't hold that two axioms are real or contradictory.
Hold it down.
Right? We obviously should accept that either one is real.
Hold it down. BT3, give me like 2 minutes. Give Cap 2 minutes, and we get to possible 2 minutes. All right, so this is 2 minutes. I just want to go over what happened in the debate. So into the debate, Apostle tried to run flow. Now what Cap did is he did a meta level objection, right? For anyone listening, he applied these type of presuppositional commitments Apostle had that Apostle wasn't even acquainted with, that he was presupposing. Cap flagged that, listen, Apostle, the argument and the formulation of the argument when you use it presupposes X, Y, and Z, and here's the reasons why. Now Apostle didn't disagree that his argument presupposed it. He just agreed that he wasn't acquainted with the type of presuppositions that said, and I quote, I just have to read more up on it. The point being made here is not only did Apostle verbatim concede, I concede this point, I concede that point. He's just not acknowledging that those concessions entails that the argument he ran is faulty. Okay, so I want to make it, let this be an example. If you gonna
let me explain something.
Wait, let me wrap it up. If you gonna call any KG member a fraud and you pull up and you perform like this, you ought to understand the act. But I'm gonna hand it off to Cap. I'm gonna let him give his little closing, and then we're gonna fly up out of here.
Yeah, so let me tell you guys something, right? In debates, typically what you want is for your ideas to succeed, right? The productivity of the debate rests entirely on you if you have a presupposition that your opponent's not, willing to sign off on, right? This is just standard burden of proof. Like if you have a burden and you fail to meet the burden, it seems like that should be points off for you in regards to the debate, right? You're failing to meet your dialectical obligation, right? I take it that presumably you want your ideas to succeed and not fail. And in this debate, Apostle has failed to substantiate and advocate for his ideas. He even had ideas that he didn't even know were his own ideas, right? And pro-lifers presumably again would want their ideas and worldview to succeed, right? For the sake of maybe you want to say children's lives, or maybe have pragmatic goals, or maybe even just like the truth of the matter, right? So I think Apostle isn't adequately, knowing that he has these underlying presuppositions, which just means that all he has to do is read. Like, listen, if you want to be good, you should just read more. Apostle, like, this is purely a scale issue, right? Like, it seems like you haven't actually adequately read on the subjects that I'm bringing up into the debate, right? If you read the philosophical literature and you embed these concepts, you have motivation for these concepts, you think abstractly in regards to your argument and what presuppositions it has and how you can justify those presuppositions, then all of this wouldn't be an issue at all, right? So you should have just read. Like, this is just, you're out of luck there. Not only that, but just conceding that you're unable to meet a burden is just bad on the optic board, right? Question mark brought up the axiom of choice and the axiom of regularity. I have no problem being a dialectist about that, but that's a new point that was only posited at the end of the debate. So the point about two contradictory axioms is going to be dismissed, right, in virtue of that fact. And yeah, I find it crazy how this guy was talking crazy on a lie, trying to, call me a fraud, call me this, that, and the third, say I'm trash, blase, blase. But then look what happens. I pull up, I debate you, I take you to the attic, you have no clue what you're doing in there. It's purely a scale issue because if you were better, obviously you'd be able to adequately engage with me on a one-to-one level. But it's actually 1 to 100 because that's how many levels up I am.
He lost
like,
on
ahead of you.
90 to 10.
Right? Like, you're just like, this is terrible, bro.
No, he lost.
So listen, Apostle, this is what you got to do, little bro. Just read, man. And that's it, bro. That's all I got to say, man. Give him his 10 minutes.
We're gonna let Apostle give his closing.
Yeah. Well,
Also, guys, you can vote who won in the poll. I set up a new one that's 5 minutes instead of 1, so more people can vote.
Oh my God.
yeah. So, yeah. Well, I'll agree that I lost the debate in virtue of the fact that I couldn't adequately defend a few commitments. But he could adequately defend, well, at least, at face value, he could adequately defend a few, all of them. But, I think he still made a few errors. I think that no, rational, well, at least I don't think many rational people would say that, Flow is committed to saying that flows are a property. Even Don Marquise's presentation of it just wanted to make flow a shorthand. As something related to the CCA, where he's making a comparative where the reason why it's wrong to harm you or me is that it's going to put us in a worse state, and it's going to be basic CCA. And then he was making the same application to a fetus, and then a future ours is just shorthand. But I'll agree that for the case of scientific realism, I couldn't defend that. But I do think that I didn't have a few of those burdens. And the second reason why I think Cap was a fraud was that, he isn't a real Catholic. In fact, when I asked him when I asked him about it, right, he even admitted he didn't admit, but he said yeah, I'm a real Catholic, right? This seems to be something that's not true, given the fact that he's not baptized. He's admitted he's not baptized. Him and Kylo have admitted he's not baptized, right? So obviously, yeah, I think they're frauds in that respect. I think that sure, maybe he could defend adequately that he's not a fraud as far as he's not a fraud as far as philosophy goes. Maybe again, I'm not gonna admit to that fully, but as far as this debate's shown, that gives credence to the fact that he's not a fraud for in philosophy or in debates. But besides that, obviously I was a bit annoyed by the language, but beyond that, I don't really care about that. But yeah, I'll admit that I lost the debate. I think that's a fair admission. I don't think it like hurts my optics or any sort of like odd rhetorical way. But yeah, I can cede the rest of my time.
And with that being said, KG is out of here. Take care, guys.
Yeah, that was
KG is out of here. Take care, guys.
a beautiful debate, man. GG's. We don't got to be toxic, man. That was a great debate, bro. GG's.